Here we go. We're live recording. So, if you would start with your verb teas out, please. So the verb chart from yesterday. Get those out. So verb conjugation. All it is changing the verb a little bit so that it matches your main subject. So you don't say things like, I is so smart or anything like that. Okay? So today we're going to do the basics. Yesterday we had the verb sein. That one's the totally confusing one that has nothing to do with anything as far as the normal pattern. Okay? But the rest of the verbs all follow in a very basic pattern. Okay? So on one of your verb charts, we're just going to fill in what the regular endings are. And there's man on that one as well, not just as yes. But you have this on your chart already. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go in, and this is essentially copying that poster that's over there. Okay. So we're going to go through and put in what the regular endings are, and then I'm going to go back in the next slide and show you how to use them, so what that looks like. Okay. So for ich, your verb ending is going to be an I. Okay, so whenever your main subject is ich, you will have your verb ending with an I. When your main subject is du, it's going to be an st ending. You're writing it on one of your verb charts, yeah. For sie, es, and man, you're going to have a t ending. For wir, it's going to be en. For ihr, it's going to be t. And for sie and sie, it'll also be en. Okay. Can I go on to the next one? Okay, so I'm going to do another verb chart. This time I'm just going to put the first letters since you already have them written out so you know what they are anyway. Okay, this time we're going to use the verb gehen. Does anybody know what gehen means? To go. Sehr gut. So you've had the phrase, darf ich auf die Toilette gehen? May I go to the bathroom? Okay. So next to meaning you would write, I almost put to mean, to go. Okay. So how you conjugate a verb in German is you get rid of that n ending, or if it has an en, then you get rid of the en ending. So all infinitive forms of the verb, infinitive is the part that is up at the top. So this is the infinitive. This is what you find when you look up a verb in the dictionary. So in English it's infinitive, in German it's infinitive. Okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to take that, you're going to take off that en ending. And then you're going to go back to that other chart and add the correct one back on. Okay? So what we're going to do to start is get rid of that en, and that leaves us with the stem of the verb. And that's pronounced in this case geh. So all you have to do is go start filling that in next to all of them. We'll go back in a minute and add on the correct endings. So for now you're just writing G-E-H next to every single one of them. And again, that praeteritum perfect thing, that was the past tense, so you ignore that. You don't need that today or this year. Okay. So then looking back at your other chart with the endings on it, if ich is your main subject, what ending are we going to add? I. Yep. So I'm going to write it in a different color just so you can see it stand out. Okay. So I is your new ending. How do you say that word? Gehe. Okay. The I at the end is pronounced a. Okay. So everybody try that one. Ich gehe. Okay. What about du? What's our ending for du? St. Okay, so you add your st. How would you say that? Gehst. Yeah, everybody, du gehst.
Du gehst.
Good. What about sie, es, and man? What's our ending for that one? T. Is everybody seeing how this works? Yeah? So you add your T. So how would you say he goes? Geht. Good, yeah, and you've seen that one before. You've seen the Es geht mir gut. It goes me goodly. That whole thing. Okay?
Sorry, what's is and man?
Is he. Sie is she. Es is it. Man means one, like someone in general. And I think you had those written down, or you should have written them down yesterday in your notes when we were doing the other ones. Okay? What about wir? What's your ending for wir? En. Mm-hmm. And wir is nearly always, the only one off the top of my head that I can think of that is different is sein. It's always going to be the same as the infinitive. Right? So it looks exactly like whatever you'd find in the dictionary. Okay? What about ihr? What are we going to add? T. And that leaves us with geht again. So you notice sie, es, man, and ihr, they're very, very frequently the same word. Okay? Not always, but frequently. And sie? What, en. And that leaves us back with the infinitive. Wir and sie are always the same as well. Okay? Does that pattern, how that works, does that make sense? Yeah? Okay. Can I move on to the next one? So we're going to do another one. Original verb is kennen. Okay. Everybody try that. Kennen. Okay. And it means to know or be familiar with. So when you're talking about to know, you mean a place or a person. Okay. Okay. So if you're trying to say, I don't know, like I don't know that, if I ask you a question, you're like, how do you say blah, 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 then you would use a different verb. Okay? This one is more like, I'm familiar with the city of St. Paul, or I'm familiar with a person named Morgan, whatever it may be. So use this with people and places. Okay? And then we're going to go back through. What was our first step? What are we going to do first? When we're conjugating a verb, what do? And get rid of the en. Yep. Okay, so that leaves us with the base word of what? Ken. Yeah, like Ken and Barbie. Okay, so go ahead and fill that down for all of them. And we're going to go back through and add our endings to the stem of our verbs. Yeah, we have science classes above us. They frequently do weird things. Alright, so what's our verb ending for ich? E. Okay, so we put it on there. What's our new word? Kenna. Okay, so it's not Kenny, like they killed Kenny. Okay, but kenna. So everybody try that one. Kenna. Okay. What are we adding to do? ST. So what's our new word? Kennst. Everybody, kennst. Okay. What are we adding to sie and man? T. So what's our new word? Kennt. Everybody, kennt. Okay. What are we adding to wir? En. So what's our new word? Kennen. What are we adding to ihr? And our new word is? And sie we're adding? And then our new word is? There you go. Does that make sense? Good. I'll give you a second to copy that down, and we'll do a couple sentences, and then that'll be it for notes for today. All right. Just real quick here. So if we are going to say, I know Thomas. Thomas is just Thomas. Okay. What's your first word? I know Thomas. Ich. Now we need our verb and we need to conjugate it. Kenne. Because ich was our subject. So you always conjugate your verb for your main subject. And then what do we need next? Thomas. Yeah. There you go. So I you, Thomas. So this should be going in your regular notebook.
Why would it be if Kent Thomas, because Thomas is a boy?
But I'm the one who knows him. I'm the one who's doing the action. So you always conjugate it for who's doing the action. So ich, your ending is an E. Does that make sense?
Oh,
Okay. How about, wie sagt man, he knows Tanya? What's your first word? He knows Tanya. Er. Good. Next word? Kent. Because that's based on the er. Okay. And what did I say? Tanya? Yeah, Tanya. Tanya in German is with a J. Let's try a question. If we were going to ask, do you know Tanya? Wie sagt man you? How do I say you? Du. Okay. How do you conjugate kennen for du? Kennst. So since it's a question, we're not going to start with our main subject. We don't have a question phrase, so we have to start with our verb. Okay. So our first word is going to be kennst. What comes next? Du. Mm-hmm. And your main subject and your verb, that's that couple in the hallway that you can't separate. You know what I mean? So you don't want anything to come between them. I mean, you might, but they don't. Okay? So they stick together. Don't let anything come between them. Okay? So kennst du, and we used Tanya again. Okay. Okay. One thing that's really different about German versus, I almost said American, versus English. They have one verb, like kennst. Okay? We have two. Both of those words are combined already into that kennst. Okay? So if you say something like, ich spiele Fußball, I play soccer, that means I do play soccer, I am playing soccer, and I play soccer. All three, all in one sentence. So it's very efficient, yeah. Okay? The Germans like their efficiency. Okay? So you don't have that extra do, so it's one less thing to have to worry about in your sentence. Okay? We're doing okay? Good. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of your notes for today. Fragen? Any questions?